Hello everyone, Jonathan here from M Games, and I'm going to be showing you an add-on that I've been making for Blender 2.8. It is called TMG Mod Tools. It is designed so that you can add modifiers to multiple selected objects, you can decimate different edge loops while in edit mode, you can even add modifiers while in edit mode. There's some tools for different views, so you can have a non-distracting mode. You can have wireframe, so you can see through the object. You can change things to wire or bounds. It makes it easy for Boolean objects. See here, you have different modifier settings for whenever you toggle different modes like solidify, bevel, and subsurf. I will add more later. Here. And you even have things like adding a plane, a circle, an arch, and a basic pipe object. So you can extrude that and move it in and extrude it out, and kind of have something like that. Nice and easy. And there are different spline objects as well. That one's just kind of smoothened a little bit. And I've even added a modifiers panel, so you can add different modifiers to different objects, you can change them. And as you can see, it's the same modifier stack as what's in the main panel. I just moved it over to the N key menu. Now let's get into how to install it. We're going to go to Edit, Preferences, and up here we're going to go to Install. You should find it in Downloads or whatever you've downloaded the TMG Mod Tools.zip file to. Click on Install. You should find it there with Mesh TMG Mod Tools and View 3D, Edit Mode, Sidebar, and Edit tab. You can check it to make sure that it's enabled. And now, whenever it's enabled, you can, I prefer distraction-free view. You can also apply modifiers. So I'm going to show that real quick. I'm going to duplicate this object with Shift plus D, and I'm just going to press Shift R a couple of times. And here's where the fun begins. I'm going to press the T key to get rid of the tools. I'm going to select two of these objects. And I'm going to go to my modifiers. I have normal edit, triangulate, and bevel turned on. I'm going to apply the modifiers, or add the modifiers. And as you'll see, there's the bevel, triangulate, and weighted normals. You can change it just as you would with any other modifier, except you can't select two items and change the settings yet. I'm still trying to figure that part out. But I've given you the ability to where you can kind of change it. And let's increase that. If you keep on clicking the Add Modifiers, it changes the values. And if I select these two as well, it'll change them. Oh, that's the angle limit. Whoops. There we go. And if I go over to View and then Wireframe, you can see what all is happening here. Alright. Now, I said that you could apply the modifiers. So whenever you're happy with what you have, you go over to View and Apply Modifiers, and you just click Apply. You'll notice that the modifier stack is gone, and everything has been applied. While I'm in edit mode, I'm going to show you some features that I've added in the Decimate tab. I'm going to go into Edge Select. I'm going to create a few edges here. We'll just select these 5 edges here. And then we will checker decimate edges. You'll notice that it did every other. I left 2 behind. But if I select these 5 over here, and then I just do decimate edges, it just decimates the whole edge loop. If I hold Control, this can sometimes be dangerous doing that, but yeah. But you can get some interesting results. So I'm going to delete all these objects. I'm going to go over to Add Object, and I'm going to give this a solidify. And the modifier is going to be on the z-axis. I'm going to add in a plane. Notice that the objects add in the center of the world. Over to modifier settings, the thickness, get around 0.4, I think. Make the width around 0.3. There we go. Increase that to around 1. Then I could duplicate this object. I'm going to scale it on the X, scale it on the Y, move it up a little bit, and over to the left. Now, I'm going to go into View, and then I'm going to set this object to Wire. I'm going to left-click on my box, and add a Boolean. And I'll just move that up the stack. Now you'll kind of notice that the bevel is kind of working. Let's try and increase the bevel. I could always do it here. So yeah, you'll notice that the bevel isn't working. That's because for some reason Boolean objects, they don't seem to like using Boolean. There we go. Now, we have full access to the Boolean. I'm going to duplicate this, scale it down. I'm going to give this another Boolean. Or maybe not. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I'll just move it up a little bit. So as you can kind of see, you're getting some okay cuts here. Yeah, we're not going to do that. Could actually do this though. And we can have some fun with this. As you can see, these are the Boolean cutting objects. Two separate objects, but I'm able to control how they look. Okay. I'm just going to delete those objects. And let's see here. Add in a cylinder. Well, it was a circle. Now it's a cylinder. We're not going to do that. See here, but then I can always adjust the offset. I could give it a subdivision surface. Give it a knockoff Blender logo. Let's see. Alright, going into the arches. What's really happening here is it's just like a flat plane, but it has a screw modifier as well as a bevel to give it some nice edges. I'm going to set this to the y-axis. Give you a better example of what's going on here. So I'm going to add a loop cut with Control R. Add two more. Add some bevels. And extrude that. Now, whenever I leave this, you'll notice that there's some unwanted geometry. And we can see this even better if I go over into this ghost mode. You can see the extra faces, and they're not very good at all. So let's delete these edges. Now, should be a whole lot cleaner. If you hold Control, Shift, and B, you can bevel vertices. It looks like faces, yeah, they're not right. So go over to the screw, calculate order, and that fixed it. I can always increase the topology. That's how the arches work. Now here's a little warning. Let me bring out my cubes again. So as you know, the subdivision modifier is very heavy on system resources. I kind of advise against using it this way. But we're going to use it anyway. So by default I have it set up to 2. But I have it maxed out at 5. And we'll see if it kills my computer or not. No, not too bad. But I would advise being careful or cautious when using subdivision surface modifiers on multiple objects, as the more complex they are than a cube, the more likely you are to overload your computer. And also notice that you can change the objects to wire, bounds, and textured. We also have mirror. And if I set this to the z-axis, it should mirror from below. Or from above. Of course, you can always tab in and edit multiple objects at the same time. This technique works good with a plane. Oops. I did not add my solidify. There we go. So now we have a solidify modifier. So it's pretty easy and straightforward to add detail to objects. Of course, I could Shift D and duplicate that. Go over to my apply modifiers. And there we go. And let me show you one more thing. I'm just going to add in a bunch of random objects. Okay, so we have a whole bunch of different objects. We've got a text object, we've got a few different curve objects, camera, lights, and different things. I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to click Apply Modifiers. And if I click Tab, you'll notice there was no errors, and I was able to convert everything into a mesh. At least what could be converted into a mesh. Of course, I could always add modifiers to them as well. And yeah, add modifiers, and whatever objects could have them now have the different modifiers. I know this was kind of a brief introduction to my add-on, but it should be a pretty good start. So I hope you enjoy using the add-on, and I plan on adding more features later. If I can figure it out, I'd like to figure out a way to remove all modifiers on different objects. I don't know if I'll be able to reach that point or not, but I'm going to try. Thank you all for watching. This has been Jonathan from TMG Games. Enjoy.